everyone, it's Mari. I'm so happy to be back again today here on the Scrapbook and Cards Today YouTube channel for another episode of Tried, Trendy, and True. And today we're going to be making a slimline card using a bunch of gorgeous products from Pinkfresh Studio, including this beautiful floral notes stamp set that I'm showing you here. This is just such a pretty set that's great for making a slimline card. You can see that there's a coordinating die and 3 coordinating stencils for this stamp set that just go beautifully together. The sentiments in this set include "So happy for you," "You totally can," "You did awesome," "Miss you so much," "Happy birthday," "Thanks so much," "You made my day," "You are the sweetest," a little something to brighten your day," and "Take care." So perfect for almost every occasion. I absolutely love the fonts in the text on this stamp set as well. They're super, super fun and just a beautiful set that coordinates in such a gorgeous way with these coordinating stencils. And I can't wait to show you how this works. So what I'm going to do to start off is I'm putting the stamp in my MISTI and I'm going to stamp the image out onto some Neenah Solar White cardstock. I'm going to use some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. This is just a really nice crisp ink. I'm not going to do any kind of Copic coloring or anything like that with this particular stamp. I'm going to only do stenciling with dye ink. So this kind of ink is just perfect. It just is so nice and crisp, and I love that. So I've got that all stamped out now, and I'm going to be using some of my favorite dye inks, a Gina K ink, to stencil over top of this image. So I have the first layering stencil over top of my floral image, and I'm going to take some Innocent Pink ink from Gina K and one of Gina K's new blending brushes, and I'm going to blend on that gorgeous Innocent Pink, light pink color. Now, what I like to do when I'm using this kind of a stencil that's a layering stencil, I often like to go in with my lightest color first and add the details with a darker color or a different color, something that's going to coordinate but be a contrast with that first base color. So you can see here that I'm just going to blend over top of the different open spaces on that image. I'm going to just make sure that the stencil's lined up every time I move to a different area, just to make sure it's exactly where I want it to be. And then you'll just see here again, I'm going over that largest flower on this floral image with the Innocent Pink, and just really love how this stencil works so well. And this is a really nice quality stencil. It's super thick and really sturdy. So it's not a flimsy stencil in any way at all. It's super easy to use. And you can just see how easy this makes coloring a floral stamp. So for those of you who are a little bit reluctant to purchase a floral stamp because you aren't really sure if you want to do all of that coloring of that open space, this is a really great way to color an image super fast. And this is real time. I have not sped this up, so you can see how quickly I was able to color in that image with that first layer of stenciling. Now I'm going to line up my second stencil so that once again, this stencil set has 3 coordinating stencils. And this is some Gina K Passionate Pink, and I love this pink, and it's beautiful, rich pink magenta color. Goes so nicely with the Innocent Pink. So I'm going to now blend over top of my image again, using this stencil to mask off the other areas. My ink is only going in that open space on the stencil, and you can see that it's going to fill in the open area that was missed by the previous stencil. And with this Passionate Pink, it's just going to create this beautiful contrast. You can see what just a lovely rich fuchsia color, kind of a magenta fuchsia. I don't even know how to describe it. It's so gorgeous. It's just the most beautiful shade of pink. And I almost feel like this is kind of like Catherine Pink. Catherine has her favorite pink color. I feel like this is pretty close to Catherine's favorite pink. So you guys, let me know in the comments if you think that this is pretty close to her favorite pink color. Getting into all of those different areas here again with that Passionate Pink, and just going to work through and make sure that I get that pink in all of those beautiful little areas of the stamp and all of the little open areas that include some little extra floral pieces, not just the centers of that original stamp. So you can just see when I lift this stencil off that the florals are all colored in now, and now we just have to do the leaves. And there's a third coordinating stencil with the set, and I'm going to use the Gina K Lucky Clover I'm going to take another brush. This time, this blending brush I'm using is from Trendy Stamps, and I'm going to just blend on my Lucky Clover into the open areas on the stencil for the leaves. And once again, I will repeat that I did just make sure that my stencil is exactly where I want it before I go in with that color. So when I go to the next leaf open area there as well, I will just double check and make sure that my stencil is in just the right spot, exactly where I want it, before I go in with my color. And super easy. Now you could also blend additional colors over top of this open area here if you wanted to add some darker greens, if you wanted to use a lighter green than Lucky Clover first, and then go in and add, say, for example, at the very lower edge closest to the petals of the leaves, if you wanted to deepen the green with a darker green, you could totally do that with a smaller blending brush and add details even just with this one stencil. So love the versatility of these stencils and the options and opportunities to just be really creative and have so much fun coloring your stamped images. And I still can't get over how quickly I was able to create the color on this very large image when you think about it for the Slimline card with this stencil layering technique. So super fun, really love it. I am going to just finish up with these Lucky Clover leaves, and you'll just see me there grabbing a little bit more ink just to refresh the amount of ink that I have on my blending brush here, just to make sure that it is still nice and dark and that rich, beautiful Lucky Clover green color. I love this color. It is just so springy. And these blending brushes do make this job really super easy because they get into all of the little areas of the stencil with those bristles on that brush and make it really, really super easy to do the ink blending. So I'm just going to work through this last little stencil area of the leaves, and my leaves will be all colored. And I love the combination of the light and the darker pink with this beautiful Lucky Clover green. It's just a really nice, bright, like I said, springy green, and just love how that looks when it's all finished. So really gorgeous. And I was super happy with the result when I was all finished with the blending of the ink over that stamped image. Now I have the coordinating die as well for this set. And this is once again just genius because it's going to cut out this whole floral swag image in one fell swoop. So I'm going to just use my purple tape to make sure that I have my die down into the right place. I am also working on my Waffle Flower craft mat here, my media mat from Waffle Flower, which I love. It's the white silicone mat. That what I really enjoy about this, well, I enjoy a lot of things, but what I really enjoy about it when I'm ink blending, especially or doing the stenciling technique, is that the paper sticks really nicely to that silicone and it doesn't move. So it does help that blending process as well. So now I've got that taped down. I ran it through my Gemini Junior and I've got it all cut out, and I'm just going to show you what this looks like. This beautiful floral swag, and it's going to be ready for my Slimline card. So just a really, really pretty piece. It's just stunning. Beautiful. I love it. Super easy. Did not take me very long at all. And this is going to just be the total showpiece for this card. Now I'm also going to be using a Slimline die. This one is from the Trinity Stamp Slimline collection. It's called it's part of the Slimline envelope builder set. And this is going to just create a little scalloped edging. And I'm also going to use the center cutaway part. When I cut that die, there was this center part here that you can see on my desk that's left over. That's the cutaway. And I wanted to stencil on that. Now I am using a Trinity Stamp Slimline stencil. This is the Slimline Stripes stencil, and I'm stenciling through that some Moonstone Nouveau Glimmer paste, and I'm just using my Nouveau spatula here to get that through. You'll just notice that I am going with the lines on the stencil rather than across them to get my medium onto my paper in that way. When I take that off, it's just going to reveal these beautiful shimmery stripes. And these diagonal stripes are going to provide the backdrop for that beautiful stenciled floral piece that we're going to use for the front of our card. Now, I'm just showing you there how the Gina K cardstock coordinates so beautifully with her ink. So the cardstock I'm going to use for my card base is Innocent Pink, matches perfectly with the Innocent Pink ink. And I have cut that at 7 by 8.5. and scored it at 3.5. So my card base is 3.5 by 8.5, which is perfect for a slimline card base. And you'll just see how that border fits perfectly on that front of that Innocent Pink card. I'm going to adhere that down. I've just used some liquid adhesive on that frame. I'm going to adhere that down to my card front. And then I'm going to take that insert for that frame, and I'm going to insert it, obviously, into the frame so that that beautiful diagonal stripe is going to be the base behind the florals. Now, I could have just left that part off of the card and just left the front of the card open. That's another option with that die, but I just really like the idea of having that tone-on-tone white with the glitter in it as a background, and that texture, and I love the diagonal lines. Just looks really pretty, and it's going to look really stunning with this floral piece once I get that all glued on there. And you can just see how nicely that cutaway piece fits well, obviously, into that scallop frame. And I have that all adhered down now, and I'm going to adhere this floral piece as well. Now, the floral piece I didn't want to pop up to be dimensional, just because with this type of thing, when you're adhering something to a paste, or anything kind of with glitter in it, it's really important to use a really strong adhesive, like a liquid adhesive. So I am using a liquid adhesive to glue that down to the diagonal base there for my card front. And once that's all adhered, I'm just going to put something heavy on top and let that stick down. I'll be ready to do the next step. Now for this next part, I want to do some heat embossing. So I have a piece of vellum in my Mini Misty, and I've just treated that vellum with my anti-static powder tool. I'm going to stamp out my sentiment onto that vellum using some Lawn Fawn embossing ink. And this is just a clear sticky ink that is going to stamp that sentiment onto the vellum with that clear image. And then I'm going to use my silver Lawn Fawn embossing powder to emboss over top of that. So I'm just going to take that piece of vellum over to my embossing powder and sprinkle that embossing powder over top. And you can see how the embossing powder only sticks to where I have stamped, because that anti-static powder tool has prevented the powder from sticking to the paper. And now I am going to take my embossing gun, the heat tool, and melt the embossing powder. And that is going to reveal a beautiful sentiment that says a little something to brighten your day, which is just one of those beautiful sentiments from the Floral Note set. Now I've also taken my sewing machine and I have sewn the vellum to the front of the card on each side. And I'm going to just trim off that extra vellum. And you can see that I have taped down the extra thread on the inside of the card with a little bit of washi tape. And I am going to cover that up with another piece of the Innocent Pink cardstock. The really nice thing about the thread about the sewing is that it attaches the vellum to the card without having to use adhesive. And I really like doing that when I'm applying vellum to a project. Now I'm going to go ahead and take that extra piece of Innocent Pink and adhere that to the inside of my card so that it's just finished off nice and clean. I'm going to take some Trinity Stamps clear crystal rhinestones, and I'm going to apply them to my card front with a little bit of liquid adhesive. Now I am going to put a little cluster of 3 of these rhinestones in different sizes. I think I use a large, a medium, and a small size rhinestone in that top area. And then I'm also going to put a couple of these crystals to the lower right area of the swag at the very bottom of the card. And there I'm going to put a small one and a large crystal. And that's just going to finish off the embellishing for this really gorgeous slimline card. And I'm just going to finish up this process here by using my Marvy Jewel Picker to pick up those crystals and place them into that little bit of glue that I have already placed on the card, ready to take these little crystals. I love these crystals. They're so blingy and pretty and shiny, and they coordinate so nicely with that Nouveau Glimmer Paste that I used on the card as well. So really, really love how that looks and how it finishes the card off. It looks so classy and so pretty. It's just one of the most gorgeous cards I think I've ever made. I really love it. The slimline card trend is strong, friends. It's really strong, and I love a slimline size. Also, I have to say, I'm a really huge fan of the layering stencils. They're so fun. Make sure you check the links in the description box below. Have an amazing day, friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.